Welcome to another episode of Real Insights. And today we've got a special guest, a friend of mine who is absolutely crushing it at Real. Today I'd like to welcome Samantha Hilery. Sam, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your real estate journey so far.
So I am an agent I live in Rochester Hills, so North Oakland County, and I'm part of Modus, which is a team at Real. We have 17 agents. I have two business partners, Mark Schmansky and Tony Tran. And yeah, we've joined Real 18 months ago, and we haven't looked back since.
That's awesome. Where were you before Real?
So our journey, we were at a KW office, and then we went to EXP, and we were there for 2-ish years, and then we came over to Real.
So you're at KW, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you were attracted to EXP for probably I guess what brought you to EXP?
Different. I mean, when I was at KW, I was fired from a team and I didn't want to go back. So we made a very rash, quick decision to go to EXP, and it was good. I mean, it was fine. It was good. I actually think that you can be a good agent anywhere. You can do business anywhere. Like you can open your own. So I think that this idea that you have to be someplace, what I think was missing for us personally when we were there was a lot of connection. It felt, we were with a group who was wonderful, but not here. And I feel like I'm an includer. Like if I meet you and I like you, I want to take you everywhere with me.
Yeah.
Right. Like you
are, by the way.
Dinner, happy hour. Like, you meet me, if you meet me at anything, I'm like, come join women's council that I'm really involved in, or I'm like, a happy hour, come do this. Like, it's just kind of who I am. And unfortunately, when I was there, I met some really wonderful people, but I also wasn't invited to any of those groups, really, because I wasn't part of their silo for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So that was hard because I was meeting people that I liked, but then, it was always the question of like, well, who are you with? And that sucked.
Yeah.
I just because I'm also an open book, and I think this about me, Jeff. Like if I have something that I think could help someone else, if you ask me, I will give it to you, right? Like you want my buyer's presentation, like jump up, you can shadow it on Zoom. You want the material that I made, here's the Canva link. Like, because I think rising tides help all ships. And
absolutely.
And it didn't feel that way to me. So we kind of went, myself and my two other business partners, on this journey of like, maybe we need to find something else. So we went and talked to everyone, like any broker that would talk to me, I would take a meeting with.
That's smart. I think that's the best way to value. I mean, you said a lot there to unpack. I think, I guess to back up a bit, you said what I think every agent needs to understand. Any agent that's watching this video or thinking about making a switch into brokerage is that I would say you take yourself everywhere you go. And like you said, you nailed it. You can be a good agent anywhere. Now, the question is, what brokerage can power you to the next level? Where can it take you to the next level? And I think that's where many agents that are switching or thinking about switching are kind of like, oh, well, that firm can't offer anything. Well, no, it starts with you first.
Right.
And I think, in terms of EXP, use the word that we've heard consistently, which is silos. And I think that's where, we've heard a lot of the C's, the connection, the collaboration, which, may not happen at EXP because of those silos.
Yeah.
So you're at EXP, lack of connection and collaboration. What did you see at Real that kind of caused you to make the move?
So I honestly didn't. So 18 months ago in Michigan, there wasn't really much of a presence here. And we saw some people, I don't even remember who I saw at the time, on Instagram. And we got connected, and Mark and Tony and I went to the Rise conference. It was in Texas. And we were like, okay, this is cool. I've been to sales conferences before. I came from a sales background. Previously, I've been to more sales conferences than I probably would like to admit, with real estate and publishing and everything in between. And I was really, taken back. Like no one tried to recruit me when I was there. Like no one was like, oh, you should sign up with me, which was kind of refreshing. And there was a lot of information being thrown at me. But then we were in a room and Sharon got up on stage and went through like, I don't even know, like so many slides in 7 minutes. And I was like frantically trying to take pictures of all this information he was giving us. And he at the end said, like, here's a QR code, like I'm giving you my presentation, which I had never experienced. Everywhere else I'd always gone to sales conferences, I felt like people were always giving me information, but so quickly that I couldn't retain it. And then there was always a hook. Like,
Right. There's a pitch at the end, right?
yep, like if you want this information, like join, or if you want this information, like give me your credit card, or there was always something. Like they couldn't just give it to me. And he just gave it, and I was like, huh, this feels different. And at the time, Sharon wasn't with Real, but Tamir had brought him to speak to us, or I was there, so all of us. And I looked at Mark and Tony and I said, like, I feel like we could be here. Like, I feel like I could do this here. And at the time, we had a team of 12 agents, and it was like, well, like we have to convince them to come with us too, right? Like, because this is like,
That's a big part of it.
right. We're all leaving stock behind. We're leaving rev share, like, we're leaving all of these things to come here because I think it's going to be better. Because like my gut's telling me it's going to be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was kind of a big thing. And then when we got here, like I met you, I met Brian, I met, Dave, the broker. I met all these people, and everyone was really kind and nice. And it felt like a place where we could collaborate together, even though we aren't necessarily financially attached.
I think that's because of the lack of silos, right? So it's like we're all here, rising tide, we're all helping each other. But and I think which is true. And I think this is a strong statement. And you said it quickly, but I knew it was a big deal for you. It's like you're at EXP, you've got revenue share, you've been there a couple of years, you're looking at, really growing the team. Things sound like they're going really well at 12. It's a big jump after hearing, kind of seeing this on I don't want to say it was a gut move, but you're hearing Sharon speak, but you made the move. And I think that says a lot. And I think that's where many agents get caught up in saying, well, so much on the money side of it. Obviously, it's very important. But in the end, there was a bigger opportunity here. And I think it's back to those intangibles, right? It's the culture, it's the collaboration, it's all of those things that make Real unique.
Well, and don't get me wrong, I like money. We were just talking before we got here. Like, I like money and I like numbers. I love myself a good old spreadsheet. I like figuring out percentages. But when I looked at some of the things that Real also had, they're proprietary to them. So like and also, I want my life to be easier. I've got 2 kids. Excuse me. I've got 2 kids. I'm busy. Like I need things to be made easy so that I can do more business. So I can do the things I want, like, so I can go show houses, I can train the team, I can do those things. So the fact that they had an app and I could just scan my check and when at commission, my commission check at closing, and, it's kind of like Uber Eats for
I love that.
And like, I just get on and it tells me like, yep, this is done. Like, this is done. So my brain, it helps my brain keep everything organized. So that was great. But then I look at for our team, like what we were paying for our CRM, and, Real had a connection with Chime then, now that's Lofty, which saved us money. So like when I also looked at my bottom line, when I looked at caps, when I looked at what my team was paying, like nobody on my team is paying a cloud brokerage fee every month or a desk fee, right? We're paying something off the first 3 transactions for the year.
Yeah, that's it.
And I've got agents on my team who are mothers or stay-at-home moms or who are at different places in their career. I don't feel good about asking someone to pay money every month if they don't have a closing. And,
Right.
And I want them all to make a ton of money. That's great. But I also want to respect that not everyone has the same goals of doing 10 million in volume. So we need to be able to support them at all those levels. And Real just made more sense financially for my team.
You touched on it. It sounds like one of the things that we're looking for our broker to do is really, in short, to make our life easier.
Mm-hmm.
So how did I know being a mom is a big part of your life and important. How did Real make you being a mom and balancing your career and family better?
So, I mean, there's a bunch of little things that I think are helpful. Like, one, I can access education. Like, I like the app. But 2, it's the people. I came from a cloud brokerage where I didn't feel a lot of broker support. And it was a real aha moment about 4 months after we joined. And I had a transaction that was just getting difficult. And I was in Mexico for my 40th birthday. And I called our broker and just said, hey, this is what's happening. I just want to give you a heads up. I'll call the legal hotline next because that's what I'd always been told to do, right? Like no one had ever fought on my behalf before.
Yeah.
And he was like, wait, what? And I was like, well, I just wanted you to know that what's going on, but I'll take care of it. And he said, aren't you in Mexico? And I said, I am. And he said, stop, I'll take care of it. And he stepped in and just did what a broker, now I know that's what a broker should do, right? That's
Absolutely.
why I have a cap. That's where my money is going, right? And he did. He took care of it and then called me and said, like, this is what's been done. You'll do this. And could I probably have done the same thing? Yes, but he saved me time. I was able to be on vacation with my family and I felt supported, which wasn't happening where I was at before.
That's huge. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. So that's made things easier. And then I feel like there is so many points of connection. So like being a mom and being a woman in real estate can be super lonely. Um, I feel like as women, sometimes people think there's not enough seats at the table, right? Like as women, we're trying to get a seat at the table. And I feel like here, when I get a seat, I'm also trying to steal another seat to bring a woman with me. And they have groups like that through here. Like there's Real Women, Women of Real. They have like a couple Zoom calls with people, our CFO, who's a woman, our chief marketing officer, groups that are there to support women in understanding that, yes, we're all realtors, but the truth is that we all have different dynamics within our lives, within our businesses, and
Absolutely.
all these micro groups that support each other across the country and Canada. So that was huge. That's been,
And they're
yes,
all right there, right? I mean, you've got all these groups that are in workplace that you can access, and whatever you're attracted to, they're there and they're there to help. I mean,
yeah,
that's the opposite of the silo.
right. And then the other thing I think that it was big for me was the actual support I got when I had like questions. So I didn't go to EXP and I didn't come to Real to attract. It's just not, I just
Mhm.
wanted a place where I could sell houses. I could maximize my commissions so that I could go on 2 vacations a year with my family, live in the house I want, live the life I want. That's it.
Mhm.
And
It's
the
great,
only
great goals.
that's right. That's it. That's all. I think enough is enough at some point for me personally, but that's what I wanted. But then I kind of started to feel selfish. Like I found this great thing. I should probably tell some people about it. And so I was horrible at attracting. Like the first couple people that called to ask me about Real, I had to like bring up the slide deck on my phone and was like, here. Like I like it here. I don't, so then I had to call other people or text and say, hey, like I'm having a conversation. And the other places that I were at, when I was before at the other brokerage, I was always nervous to do that because then I was like, they're not going to come here. Like I'm introducing them, but they're not going to come here. So I have an agent in Texas who like we got on a call with somebody in Texas. I was like, you should join under her because she's in Texas. I don't know anything about Texas real
Yeah.
estate. And that agent who is no, like, she was like, that's silly. You take her. Like, it was like we were arguing over who she was, or we could co-sponsor her. Like, it was just a different feeling, not a scarcity mindset where there's not enough to go around. It was like, there's more than enough and we can all help each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because like at the end of the day, it's, Real is really about real estate. It's a real estate company first and foremost. And I think that's what I really loved about it is, to your point, it's about attraction, not recruiting. And it's just, you go all the way down that spectrum of saying, you know what, I'm not a recruiter. I'm here to sell real estate. And like you added value to that person. Here's what I can do. I can't help you in Texas. You're adding value, right? Because we're all working together. Where at EXP, it seems to be there's this, scarcity mindset, like you said, and there's this race to the bottom, right? Well, how can I offer that person to get them in my silo? And how can I get them? How can I personally benefit with a complete lack of real estate?
I do think that, I mean, there are some really wonderful people and really wonderful groups at EXP that I do think are doing it right. So like, I don't want to shy away from that because like they are doing wonderful things. They're super supportive and doing that. But I think that that's a culture that they've built in certain groups. right?
Mhm.
At EXP. And I have friends at EXP and like that, it works for them. That's great. Like get in where you fit in. Just like I have friends that are at properties or, Max Brock, like all these other places. And I think then that seems to be working for them right now. And that's great. The thing I think is interesting that I've learned at Real, which is so different than anywhere else. And I think people think I'm a weirdo for it. All the other brokerages, I feel like if you were to say, like, I'm going to have a happy hour with these people, or I'm going to go talk to them, they would be like, ugh, like, and not all the time, but like brokers get upset or team leaders get upset. Ron on my team was like, I'm going to go have lunch with this person. I'm like, that's awesome. Like, go make a friend. Because if you make a friend,
Absolutely.
one more person that will want to work with us to get deals accepted. And I think that that's different because I feel like that's the mindset at Real. Like we are at Real, we are one Real together. But anytime we have events, like all of our training, Sharon or Tamir, like any of the training, they're like, invite anyone. Like they recognize here that we're on a different path than everyone else. Like let everyone else do their thing. Like
Yeah.
this is what our goal is. And it's to make realtors better. Like I truly believe like if you use the resources that Real's providing, you will just be better at your job than most people.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And you exemplified the culture last night. You and your team host a happy hour. There was no agenda. You didn't strategize first ahead of time to say, what are we getting here? There was no sales pitch. It was just agents getting together, ultimately helping each other out by just conversation and connecting,
Right.
and in really enjoyment. There was no like pitch. There was no angle. There was no strategy, which is just it's refreshing. And I think in the end, given all that the industry is going through, that's what we need now. We just need coming together to figure this out for everyone and help each other out.
So my strategy is though, everyone there probably sells in areas that I have buyers. That's my only strategy.
Right.
It's not
But
about
that's real estate agent strategy. That's not
yes, that's a
attraction
real
recruiting strategy.
yep. And I did. I found out like some off-market properties last night. And I think as agents, we should be doing those things more often because
Mm-hmm.
we've all been part of a transaction where the agent on the other side is not pulling their weight.
Yes.
So when I invite people to things, I invite them because I like them and I think they're a good agent or they know something I want to know.
Yeah. And and ultimately now with all that's going on with, the SNAR and the settlement and all of that, we need to create value. And that's one of the ways to do that is information. And now you've got access to information of off-market stuff for your buyers. And ultimately you're now a better agent than you were 2 days ago.
Yep, exactly. I think if somebody can't take anything else from this today, then I think you need to go put yourself in new rooms as often as possible because you don't know what you don't know. When
Mhm.
I was first an agent, I was on a team and I just kind of thought like this team knows everything. And I encourage the agents on our team to join like boards, join groups. Like Women's Council of Realtors is great. I'm super involved. Or go join, get involved with your local board or go and join a BNI group. Go and put yourself in rooms with people that are smarter than yourself.
Yeah,
Because
that's such good advice.
yeah, and as a real estate agent, like we can't know everything. And if you could point out a house in Rochester and I can probably like spitball a price pretty quickly and have it be very accurate. But there's other
Mhm.
cities where I really have to like use the data. But I have created this group of people that I know and trust that I could call to kind of ping that idea off of.
Yeah, and that's what it's about. That's the collaboration. So you mentioned your team and how have they benefited by being involved at Real?
Well, one, a lot of them are able to attract. Some of them are way better at than I am. So that's awesome for them.
Hmm.
Um, the other thing is like ease of use. And then we have agents that are in all different, parts of their career. So there's
Yeah,
constantly information for them to learn and be, exposed. I have agents who are selling down here that are also selling in Traverse City and Sheboygan because they help people with second homes, but they're from those areas. I have a couple agents that are going to be licensed in multiple states and they only have to carry one cap, right? So they're not
that's
having,
huge.
yeah. So for them, I think financially, and then, it's a big joke that I didn't pay attention to my stock at all until I like opened it up and I was like, oh, like this isn't play money. Like
This is real. Yeah.
there's real money in here. So that too, I mean, I think for us, it's just helped level up all the agents on our team.
Yeah. I think I think it's a better compensation package for agents. And then it's, adding adding the collaboration and the culture and the connectedness of real, then it all works together. And teams get better because of it. And I think, you nailed it. Regardless of where you're at, if we're working together as agents in a good culture, we're going to win. All of our business are going to get better. So this was a fantastic conversation. Anything else before we go?
I would say if you are interested in ever coming to one of our happy hours, Jeff always has an invite, so he always knows what's going on. So come and join us. We do those like every other month. And then we also offer Con Ed and Lunch and Learns. We have a lot of vendors that we work with that have been so kind to sponsor those, but there's always more room at our table. We just believe in, having good agents around us. So, come out, hang out, see if you can learn something from us. And if you want to reach out to me, probably the best way would be on Instagram. It's just _Samantha_Hilery, and send me a message, and I'm more than happy to share anything I have.
That's awesome. You live the culture real, that's for sure. So I want to thank you for your time, and great catching up, and we'll see you on the next episode.
All right. Thanks,
Thanks,
Jeff.
Sam.